Today we are going to take you on a small tour through some of our favourite works from one of our favourite artists, Frazer Irving. So one of the first real kind of big break works that he did, I mean, a lot of it, he got his break in 2000 AD. He was doing covers and things like that. But one of the first of his major works was a book called Necronauts, which follows H.P. Lovecraft, Harry Houdini with his kind of playing with death, awakens this mystical group called the Sleepers. It's quite strange. It is a theme of strangeness that will run throughout Frazer Irving's work.
Just a bit.
And yeah, basically it's just this kind of supernatural story of these characters and their interactions with that other world. One of the things I do want to say in this is, I don't know about you, but when I think of Frazer Irving and his art, I feel like I like his art so much because he colors his own stuff and he can so his style.
It's quite strange seeing it black and white.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, his style seems to be infused and elevated by the fact that he colors his own stuff, and his colors become kind of the forefront. Like, that's what when we think of Batman and Robin, you know, when we think of some of the shade, these colors, these kind of pinks, these odd colors are what come to define his work. So how did you find reading Necronauts in black and white?
I enjoyed it. This is definitely, I personally felt as though we were watching the start of an artist, so this isn't by any means his best work, but he is, like, he's getting his foot in the door, he's getting his, you know, he's building it up, it is starting to look good, tells the story correctly, you know, in the form that a comic book should. It still has that not quite human shape about some of the characters, and kind of elongates some of them and exaggerates some of them. It still has all of that. But it's interesting that you say that with the black and white and it's not finding his feet still. I feel like Judge Death, which is the next book we're going to talk about, looks amazing. Oh, I mean, I was going to say, I wanted to bring this up during Judge Death, but we seem to be segueing anyway. I mean, what did you think of Necronauts? Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of have a similar sort of feeling about it. Like, it does, I feel like a lot of his stuff that I see later on, I see in this, but I agree, like, it isn't anything, it isn't like Judge Death. Yeah, and I mean, Judge Death is all about Judge Death, who comes from a different dimension in the Judge Dredd universe, one where to live is a crime, so he judges everyone by killing them. And, you know, Anderson, who we'll have seen in the 2012 Dredd film, and Dredd after him and trying to capture him again. This book, by far, maybe except for one of the books we're going to talk about later, was my favourite book. And I love the fact it's not in colour. Yeah. I actually, because I remember when I first started getting back into comics, it was when you were buying his run on Batman and Robin, and you gave me them to read, and I wasn't that taken with it because I found the colour palette very peculiar. Very, very peculiar, and I still do to this day. I appreciate it more, but I'm still not completely taken on it, whereas that's what I love about it. Exactly, which I think is quite good about him, but his work on Judge Death is so shocked. And I think a lot of what it comes from is that it's so heavily shaded that you get a sense that he's trying to control the tones, he's trying to control kind of as much of the art as he can. Oftentimes you'll get an artist do the pencils, you get a colorist, and it can be kind of a clash of styles maybe, and usually you don't know whose work you're really looking at. But with Frazer Irving stuff, I think that's a theme throughout his work, that it's constantly him. He has as much control over what he's drawing as possible. And yeah, I thought Judge Death looked gorgeous. I want to see more from him in that style. I mean, a lot of it does have to be contributed, like the book as a whole has to be contributed to John Wagner, who is one of the best Judge Dredd writers. But at the same time, his layouts and his panels just tell the story so good, so beautifully. Yeah, definitely. We need more comics like that today. So yes, definitely. So
Seven Soldiers was a kind of series that Grant Morrison put out. Again, this kind of off-the-wall weird stuff. It was these kind of...
Classic Morrison!
Yeah, it was these kind of pseudo-superheroes and all these different dimensions coming together.
Seriously, classic Morrison.
And one of these such stories that he told in this whole set of stories was a story called Clarion the Witch Boy, which was kind of an allegory, maybe a kind of a throwback to the Puritan kind of ideals of America in that time, in the Puritan time, and it kind of twists it, and people are blue.
People are
and
blue.
this I think is really
and there's a cat.
I mean, we should say as well that we chose kind of 6 things to talk about, all of which we found on Comixology, just because we decided we were going to do this. So, I mean, these aren't things that we've read in the book. We went and read them this week kind of thing. And Clarion the Witch Boy for me was where I thought, oh yeah, there's the Frazer Irving that I know. Like, these kind of odd color palettes, but gorgeous, just so, you look at it and you think, yeah, that's Frazer Irving. You look at the cover he did for Alan Moore's DC book recently, you think, oh yeah, that's Frazer Irving, and I thought this book was gorgeous. The cold colors was perfect for telling the story, like the blacks kind of fading into the background blacks, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to add to that. I completely agree. This is the kind of the book that's kind of the start of his now continuing style for me.
Yeah, I mean, there might have been something before it, but we didn't read it.
Very true. Next book.
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Interesting.
This was his first jump into the Marvel Universe. Am I to believe correctly?
I think that's right. I'm sure we'll be corrected if it's wrong.
Yep. Yeah, this was one of his first, I suppose the biggest book he did to date, to the date that it came out.
It's essentially continuing from Joe Casey's Extremist run on Iron Man. It's Iron Man, old villains kind of coming back, kind of classic Tony Stark dealing with the lifestyle he wants to lead and being Iron Man, and kind of themes that were emulated in the movies that we've seen.
What I will say about this book is there's just something about his style that for me works beautifully with DC. Works great on Batman, works great on the independent books he does, and can work brilliantly with all the other titles he does. It doesn't work for me at all on a Marvel kind of setting. I just think it's because it's almost too different to the kind of Marvel way that it kind of took me by surprise a bit. Like, I knew what to expect from Frazer Irving's artwork, but just even reading it, I was just like, this is strange, this is different, and I don't know if I like different in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I think I'm going to echo pretty much what you said. I think it's because Iron Man is a popular character. Batman gets away with it because it's dark and kind of... I don't know why Batman gets away, but we talked about Legends of the Dark Knight on Monday, and it just gets away with it. So I feel like I was going to echo the same thing. Frazer Irving, I think, personally, his art works best on these indie titles because I don't know, it just adds atmosphere that we don't know. We're going into these titles looking for atmosphere because they're new and they're exciting, and we don't know what to understand about them, but because we already understand so much about Iron Man, because we already have such an idea of how this character works and how his world works and operates, that it does, I agree, as much as I love Frazer Irving, it does feel a little jarring in Iron Man.
Definitely. Now we'll talk about, we're going a bit out of the chronological order now. Okay. We're going to talk about Zombie.
Okay.
This isn't a book, like, I had knowledge of it, but I never read it. This is pre-52, 2011, I believe. It's all about this young man whose life is saved when his body's infused with nanobots that stop him from aging, growing old and aging, so to say, becoming fat, keeping him healthy, doing all sorts of things like that. And then he goes on this crazy journey, adventure with nuns who all have superpowers.
The weirdness continues.
And I've got to say, his style, spot on for this book. absolutely spot on. It's again, it's very weird.
He's not a comic artist that's afraid of the color pink.
He loves the color pink, and I respect him for being able to use that in pretty much every book.
Yeah, it's great. I didn't enjoy this story. It didn't connect with me, but I enjoyed.
The writing wasn't great, but I loved the artwork in it. I thought it was absolutely stunning. And that, of course, brings us on to what he posted on Twitter once, which made me laugh quite a lot. And he said, "I worried that my artistic legacy will be a single image of a 10-year-old boy assaulting a mentally ill prisoner with a crowbar."
Yeah, I mean, this book, this is the book that got me wow, because this is when I just started jumping on with comics again, and I was like, this is really looks different to anything else I was reading. I actually had the chance, lucky enough, to meet Frazer Irving. He did a sketch for me, and I asked him about that panel, and he described it, what he thought when he saw it was porn on a panel. And I think I completely agree.
I think I can. Oh, by the way, we're talking about Batman and Robin here.
Oh, Batman and Robin.
Specifically issue 13 of Batman and Robin.
Yeah, and then 14 and 15, I believe, he did as well.
Yeah, but it is completely that. It is porn on a page. It was not only the panel of the month, but the panel of the year, possibly the decade. It was incredible.
Wow.
It's a pretty incredible image. And the cover.
It's not just the image, it's how it fits into the story as a whole. It's how it fits into this Damien story, which was the first Damien story, main Damien story. Well, it was Damien and Dick, and their kind of first run together. And the whole thing is just so much fun, and it was kind of different artists coming off and off. Frank Quietly started it, and different, but his specific
and
three
his
issues I
Joker was incredible. Absolutely.
Terrifying.
I mean, if you type in Frazer Irving into Google Images, it's one of the first things to pop up is his Joker, and it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So there you go. I mean, I hope you have enjoyed we're going to try and do this more often, talk about artists that we like, and
definitely
how, they've made us look back and look forward, and what they bring to the books and things like
back,
that.
Forward, and around the place.
Left, right, do the okey-dokey, and we'll see you next week.